Hey everybody, welcome to Fractured Focus, episode number 9, the show where we obsess about everything from geek culture to nerd news, along with random topics for discussion. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Gordon, alongside my brother, the illustrious Dan Gordon. Dan, how you doing?
I am doing great.
You've had quite a retro week.
It's been a good one, fraught with a lot of joy, a lot of frustration. With, the old or newly rediscovered Nintendo Entertainment System classics.
Boy, I tell you what, if someone would have asked me last week if I really thought that 8-bit 1980s Jeopardy on NES would occupy that much of his time, I would have said no. No, it wouldn't. And I'd be wrong.
I was committed to actually at least winning one of those games.
You did. You actually won.
No, I did not.
I thought you won the first one.
No. I am decimated by 1970s TV show trivia.
Some of them were like you couldn't. Like
oh yeah,
you were even off the spelling by a letter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's pretty brutal. But
well,
but yeah.
I don't know.
But still, it was rewarding in its own way.
It made it an interesting week. And coming in live from the great state of Nebraska, the original Swineho of Omaha himself, Matt Swinehart. Matt, did you have a retro week? How was your week?
Disappointing. No, so I stayed up late on Thursday to beat, or what I thought I was doing was beating Borderlands, and turns out no. I need to come back in another 200 years.
So, like, right. You got to the ending and it just turns out it wasn't the ending, or there's a different ending, or how does that work? I haven't played through the whole game.
Spoiler alert. You get to the ending and you go to the vault, which is like the whole point of the game. They open the vault and this big creature comes out. You kill the creature and then nothing happens. That's it.
I'm waiting for another sentence or something else to fall through here.
Yeah, go give your key to this person, and then you pretty much start the game over again, except as like a level 35 or 37, whatever you were at. So
there was no. Is there an ending when you play through it again, or how does it work? Have you played through it?
I don't know.
Not the original, but just the second one.
Okay, so we don't know if you're going to go through the whole game again for the exact same ending, or if there's an actual payoff that's going to be worth it. There's got to be, right? I mean, isn't that game pretty well story driven, and the characters are really cool, and some of the narratives are really humorous? I can't imagine them just saying, "Well, the game's over, no ending."
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to play through it again, but
yeah, that game.
Like my favorite thing in the whole game at this point is getting a car, because when you go to like where the cars are, there's a guy that's talking. He goes, "This is where the cars live. Get you one." It's like that's like my favorite thing to hear. In the whole
Catch
game.
a ride.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the minority. I'm one of the few people that game just never spoke to. I just never. I mean, I've watched it a lot. I understand the appeal. It just never spoke to me. But everyone else that I talk to about that game is pretty much loves it to death. And won't stop talking about it.
I mean, it's just fun. I mean, just the character and the level designs. Obviously, the gameplay is solid, and the humor elements are amazing. All the pop culture references, just the dialogue, and it's just over the top to the point where it's cheesy, but you love the cheese.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's cool. So you both had kind of an interesting week. Let's go ahead and dive right in to our first topic. VOLTRON, Legendary Defender, the new series on Netflix, debuted its second season on, what was it, Saturday or Friday? It was the 20th, whatever day the 20th falls on.
Friday.
And just like how much we loved the first season, I thought the second season was actually even better, but I would love to get you guys' thoughts on this, because since it's a binge watch show, we got to watch all of it, or at least had that option. I don't know, did both of you guys make it through the whole second season, or how far?
I got through everything except for the last of the last episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know what happens, but I haven't actually seen like the last several minutes.
Did you get a chance to watch all or most of it?
Oh yeah. So yesterday I binged it.
Yeah, I couldn't stop. It was really. So what did you guys think?
Oh yeah, I really love what they've done with this.
God,
really
it is really good.
It's I mean, I know we talked about this before, but taking the overall concept, it really made VOLTRON fun to watch in the beginning, and actually just essentially roiding it up with a really solid story, really strong characters, and just a lot of interconnectedness as far as where this narrative is going.
Yeah, they've clearly planned this out.
Oh yeah,
for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I even started looking back on some of the the earlier season 1, just like little snippets here and there, but just the Keith's heritage.
Yeah.
That was actually alluded to technically in the
By the
very-
way,
in the
before
first-
should we go
in the
ahead and
first
go into
episode.
spoilers in this, or?
Yeah, we should probably.
So,
let
by the
them know.
way, if you're watching this, and because it just came out a few days ago, so I can't imagine everyone's already seen this. Although, if you're a huge fan and actually looking for it, which is probably the only way you found the show on YouTube right now, you probably already watched it. But just be clear, we're gonna go ahead and go into spoiler territory. So if you don't want it spoiled, go watch that show first, binge it, then come back, bring your friends, watch this
Yeah.
On the
let
same
us know,
computer.
Yes, let us know how right or wrong we are. Okay, cool. Now go ahead and continue.
Okay, so now spoilers included. We know that Keith's mother,
Part Golra.
yeah, either mother or father is Golra, and the fact that it's all tied back to that original dagger that he's had, which when he actually went in to rescue Shiro at the
Yeah.
very first episode, you saw that on his back with that same original cloth lining that was around the runic symbol.
I didn't even give that any thought, in the first episode, like that there would be meaning behind that. I just thought it was a cool sword.
I guess there was a couple other little Easter eggs in there related to the fact that he was the only one, like when they were on Galra related missions, that could access like doorways and systems just by using his own hand.
Oh my God, that's
Whereas
right. I
before,
just remembered that.
The only way they could do it was by using Shiro's Galra created arm. But
that one
for some-
scene where Keith said, "I just put my hand on the button." I
Yeah.
just thought, well, that's just because that's all that button was. You just didn't understand the language. But no, that's probably because he's Golra.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow, I didn't think
so
about
yeah,
that.
just like all that the little stuff that kind of fed into that, and it made. Even though they redefined him a bit from the original series, these refinements, like I think they just kind of hit the nail on the head on every single one of them. This is really a character that I loved watching, and even though he's not in that leadership role,
you
now,
can tell they're foreshadowing that.
yeah. But the fact that he's not the cool head of leader. He was the hothead. He was the one that's it looks now he technically doesn't really know his parents that well. But there's a lot of exploration into him. As far as his backstory, and there's a lot there to that backstory. So it was really great to kind of see how that all fleshed out.
Yeah.
The trials that he went through with the blade of help me
I
out.
can't remember what the actual name is.
M. But
Mordor.
yeah, blade of Mordor.
Yeah. No.
Matt, what do you think?
I thought it was great, and I have to agree. Keith's definitely he is kind of risen to the top. I love the actor that plays
Stephen Yeun.
Keith. Yeah,
The not quarterback from the
yes,
49ers,
yes.
which I've come to learn. We're talking about another actor from The Walking Dead.
That's correct.
Okay.
yes, Stephen Yin. No, I love that. I thought the second season did kind of outdo the first for sure. It makes me want to make a Voltron cosplay because I think I could just
Yeah.
I could rise to the top at that point.
You've got kids in the house. Did you watch this with them at all, or did they get into this?
My son watched the last episode with me, and he actually was pretty excited by the end of it. He doesn't typically take on new things like that, especially when Dad's watching them. But no, I think he liked it. We'll probably go back and watch him again from the first season.
I agree with both of you guys. I love this. I had high hopes, or I should say expectations for the second season based on how good the first one was. They were not only met, but they were exceeded, which is really rare. I think that this reminds me of, obviously, the tone, the type of show it is. The creators are all vastly different. But this hits a lot of the same notes that Batman the Animated Series did. And I don't mean by tone or even story development or even the characters. I just mean it's done in such a way that it's so respectful to past content, like the 80s Voltron series that we originally had, that, watching it again today kind of doesn't hold up as well. It's kind of like, I know a lot of us in this room are big into the Transformers. The original, at least the first couple seasons of Transformers,
Painful.
kind of painful to watch sometimes. Some of them are still good, but some of them are a little painful to watch now.
will shield you.
Yeah, the 86 movie was still an awesome anime, but looking back, you were looking at it at the time through the children's eyes. And when they can take and modernize something and bring something new to the table while still being respectful of what's come before, but find a way to do it that it's not dumbing down to a child's audience the way that a lot of cartoons do, but not making it so complex that you can't watch this with your kids. This could be for all age groups. There's anime elements in it that are a little bit the traditional anime silly, but they work. They don't annoy you. They don't bug me. This reminds me a lot of Transformers Prime. Completely different studio, completely different development, but it takes all the best elements of something that we really loved as kids, makes it even better to, through my eyes, I would even call this like the definitive version of Voltron that I would actually want to share with other people, because this is done so well. And I looked into who was creating this just because I was so curious how did you feel when you watched the first couple episodes of the first season? It's like, I can't believe we're getting something that has this much care put into it. This is done so fucking well. The action scenes, the drawing, the dynamics of the group, and the way that the characters work together is great. The voice acting is really great. They're changing stuff that maybe was a little too corny in the 80s, but they're still throwing it in here in a different spin. Pidge is now a girl. There's a completely new character named Shiro, who's the leader. Doesn't bug me at all. It's awesome. They've changed Keith.
Great addition.
And apparently this is the same studio out of South Korea that did, and I never saw these, but The Last Airbender on Nickelodeon, and then its sequel, The Legend of Korra, which I can't stop reading about. I'm sorry, at least seeing, because I haven't really read much about it, but seeing publications on them everywhere. I mean, this is one of the most critically acclaimed cartoons, and I'm talking about The Last Airbender. All I knew about The Last Airbender was, wasn't that M. Night Shyamalan movie? And apparently, the movie was after the cartoon, and they tried to make a live action movie based on it. But the main guy that did that, I guess the point I'm getting to this is, it's really rare when you get the right group of people together that makes something that is so good on so many fronts. It's very rare. We had it with Batman the Animated Series. In my opinion, we had it with Transformers Prime. Bob and Alex that did that also did the writing for the first 2 Transformers live action movies. But the main guy that did The Last Airbender was Dave Filoni, who Lucasfilm poached to go do the Clone Wars, and now he's in charge of Rebels and has basically just become the go-to guy for story development out there. And it's so cool when you see the right people come together that do this stuff, because man, there was a lot of detail and thought put into so much stuff that I noticed this towards the last episode, that when Shiro finally gets the Bayard back from Zarkon, right? He finally has the original Black Lion, and then plugs it in at the end, and the sword becomes the blazing sword, which is a cool throwback to the 80s. It was cool as on fire. That scene where he plugs it in and basically the whole cockpit illuminates purple has been in the opening credits since the first, well, I guess they didn't show the opening credits of the first episode, season 1. They did it from season 2 on. I believe it's at least on the second season, because I don't think they changed the intro. It's been in there the whole time. They haven't shown that scene until this. So they must have been really ahead. And how cool is it that they ended on Contact Prince Lotor, so we finally get to see the son from the original series too. God, this was so great. I love the fact that they did what you kind of wouldn't expect. I really thought that they were they're gonna break up the lines like they went into the wormhole at the end of season 1, and that will be the journey in season 2, them having to find each other again. Nope, they did that right away in the first episode, and okay, well, now it's just gonna be, Robeast after Robeast after Robeast. But I'm sure it'll be good, because so far they haven't made any bad episodes. Nope. Didn't do that at all. Changed up the story, put them on the offensive. Zarkon was actually the idiot that was making mistakes. Didn't see that coming. Just obsessed with getting the Black Lion, even with all the having Golra that were actually on our side. Didn't see that coming. They've done a really good job of just keeping this new and fresh while being respectful of what came before, but also not telegraphing where they're going. But I'm pumped for this. What do you guys think that they'll do with season 3? Obviously, we know we're getting Lotor, but Shiro's gone. So what do you think's going to happen now?
Well, if they're going back to original content, he'll be back like the other guy was.
Which I hope that Shiro's not gone forever, right? Yeah. Or even for half the season, or he finally comes back, but then he leaves for good. I hope we get to keep Shiro, or at least get him back at some point for good, permanently.
At the very least, this leads into probably Allura piloting one of the lions.
You think they'll do that?
Unless they want to introduce another character to round out the 5. but it's either that or Shiro's got to be coming back like right away in season 3.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna have a Voltron with no actual Voltron for episodes.
I can't imagine them doing it right away, though. Can you? Bringing Shiro back in the first episode.
The way that they covered them splitting up in 2 episodes so quickly, I could almost see them do it. Or they're gonna have to find that replacement in there.
Yeah. I think that would make a really good long arc. Because obviously they foreshadowed it with Shiro saying it twice pretty intently about Keith stepping up to be the leader. I can't imagine now that seat is vacant and they're obviously alluding to, Keith taking over just like he was in the original 80s series, for him to do it for only 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Again, I would love Shiro to come back and be a permanent part of the Voltron force, but if he's going to step up even temporarily, it's kind of weird to set it up with that many episodes and have an even smaller amount of episodes in season 3 that he's actually in charge. I would imagine that they're going to do it longer than that too. But this is great. I freaking loved it. Anything else you guys got to add in season 2?
I liked the just some of the little bits that were kind of popping up. Some of them were kind of a little bit more enjoyable than others. Kind of got a little sick of Lance. As far as like his demeanor and his kind of a one-dimensional approach. I'm just self-conscious, girl crazy,
insecure.
I did enjoy the mall cop.
The mall cop. How cool was that?
Probably more so than I thought I was going to.
I
when I saw the episode pop up, and I'm like, all right, filler. But there was actually enough in there where I got more than a few chuckles in. Like Pidge's just fascination with the game system. The seedy underbelly that's turns out to be not the seedy underbelly. Hunk turning into Gordon Ramsay in the food court of a mall. Just like little stuff like that. A couple of the small kind of tie-ins when they rescued the engineer, and he's just criticizing. I guess it was really brief, but he's just kind of criticizing the inside of the palace.
OCD little worm guy.
Yeah. And he makes an allusion to the existence of the zip lines from the originals. When they're in the original series, when they kind of go down, they all go into their own tubes. They grab a little,
because they have that in the new one too.
They do, but he points it out as like, what are those doing there? And Allura just kind of defends it. Well, they were really popular way back, like a long time ago.
I must have zoned out or was missed out on that part because that's awesome. I don't remember that.
Yeah, but just little things here and there that just kind of they're just kind of sprinkled in there that just kind of they add to the experience, and it would have been really easy for some of that stuff to go terribly wrong and make some really bad episodes. But like for the most part, it just added to the episode. So I was really, really impressed with the way they were able to pull that off.
That's a real testament to the showrunners.
Yeah.
That you can throw something like a mall cop reference. And because anytime you're thinking how great this series has been, how well the action is, my God, they hire actual martial arts experts to choreograph fight scenes, just like they did with The Last Airbender. They're putting a lot of care into this. And if someone would have told me, again, there's going to be a sequence where they actually go to a mall, and we got like this joking Gulra mall cop wannabe badass that's clearly just a joke, I would have been like, fucking kidding me? It was pretty good.
Yeah, Lance gets a cow. That was good. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was cool.
I am kind of curious. What would you guys not want to see with season 3? Maybe it could be something that you saw from the original series that you maybe like them to shy away from,
right.
Or maybe a potential setup that we kind of saw from season 2 that you'd like them to maybe not put their energy towards.
That's hard to say because so far nothing that they've put in do I have a problem with so far. So it's kind of hard to put myself in a mindset of even contemplating what they might do that might suck because
and I think my one of the examples I listed earlier is kind of I'm interested in kind of hearing your take as far as Allura taking over from piloting the palace to now actually piloting a specific lion within the formation. I know, like watching the series, that one the original series, that kind of stuck with me, or
it was a little weird because
it was a little unusual because she's not a pilot. She didn't really.
She was
belong
more
there.
of a damsel in distress there.
And in this one, I really liked her role as essentially flying the ship, and the ship itself actually having a lot of utility compared to the original palace and the original series, which just served as a target for somebody else to kind of blow up. This thing has held its own. She's held her own as its navigator, as its pilot, as its defender. several times, and I liked seeing that, and I'd really like to see her kind of continue that.
They did a great job with it. I mean, first of all, watching her become an absolute badass in the last episode, fighting Hagar the Witch, was cool. Finding out the Hagar the Witch is really an Altean was really cool. I can't wait. God, if she's like the actual mother or something of her, which they're probably not going to do, but that was cool.
She's Keith's mother.
Wow. But she is definitely way more of a badass in this one. And I also like that they didn't make her this perfect princess that's the I don't know how you want to put. They gave her a different edge. She was kind of a little racist.
Yeah.
You know, in this, I mean, all Golro are bad and evil, and she comes to terms with that by the end, which was great, character development. It was a great arc for her. I can see her piloting. I'm assuming they would go with the Blue Line. If you're going to have to follow this.
Yeah, and then shift everybody.
Because who else was the other good pilot that was always in rivalry with Keith? I mean, they've set this up. They've planned this out really well if this is what they're going to do. I could see that makes a lot more sense. And watching the way that they animate the paladins, and I love that term for them too, watching them pilot the lions and how dynamic and animated they are as they're doing this is a lot more engaging and exciting than watching the reused footage. I mean, how much of the original 80s Voltron shows from episode to episode were actually new footage versus
Stock
reusing
footage.
stuff over and over and over. But it's just so dynamic that they have my complete trust right now. So no, I would have no problem with her piloting the Blue Lion. Even as a lot more slapstick humor as the why can't I think of the name? Corin? What's the
Kolivan?
Mustache guy?
Yeah, Kolivan.
Kolivan?
It's Kolivan, I think.
I thought it was Koran.
I thought it was Corin.
Yeah, I think it's like Corin or Koran. Anyway, well, whatever it is, he's almost the one that should annoy me, like Miko kind of did in Transformers Prime. No, he doesn't. He's good enough.
Since Matt brought it up, though, that all I can think of is just the guy from Yes Man now. And whenever I saw that and I hear the voice, that's the only thing I say. Hey, come to my Harry Potter party.
Yeah. At least you didn't get shit canned, huh? I made that up, shit canned.
Well, you know what? The guy who does Hunk is the guy from Tucker and Dale versus Evil. He's the fat guy.
Oh, God
Yeah.
damn it.
Which is
That
Great
is
in their
awesome
own
movie
right,
too,
but
by
I don't
the
need
way.
to be seeing Tucker piloting the yellow
Dale.
lion. Dale piloting the yellow lion. I don't need to see the manager from Flight of the Conchords helping the princess, pilot the ship. I'm already coming to terms with the fact that the dude who fights zombies on Walking Dead is flying the red lion.
Once you put
But
that
he was
thought in your head,
badass
you
on
can't
Walking
unthink
Dead.
it.
It's like I purposely do
Glenn
not want to know
on
who the
Walking
rest of
Dead.
the voice actors are because that's all I'm gonna see.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Even the girl that does Pidge was on a few episodes of Arrow. She was the short-haired girl that was the friend of not his sister Speedy, but who played the guy in the
Roy?
red suit. Yeah, Roy, like the friend short. Anyway,
Yeah.
I started
Great,
a couple
thank you.
episodes. Yeah, but even after that, and I was looking at pictures of the whole group as they were, having their picture taken at some convention. Then I was kind of doing this concurrently as I was watching the show. Then I'm like, no, I don't think of her when I think Pidge. I don't know. I just think it's done too well. It really, gets you into the show. But let's get to you, Matt. What do you think you'd be excited to see in season 3, or what? Are you hoping that they don't do, like Dan was saying?
I'd like to see him kind of explore the Altean aspect of it that they touched on at the end.
Yeah, they kind of have to now that we know that Hagar is Altean, right? More backstory.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's are all those other people Altean too?
Who? You mean
You
like
have
the
to
druids?
assume. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
We don't know what's
because
under
we
those
don't even
hoods.
know how the princess did all that stuff when she was fighting. All of a sudden, she was just this absorbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to see that. I don't really want to see her in a lion.
No.
I don't think she needs to be one of the paladins. I don't know.
How would they
I'm
pilot
trying
the
to think,
ship if she's in the line? How would they do the wormholes? Because they need her to do that.
exactly.
Right? So if they don't have her in the Blue Lion, then who would they get to replace? They need a fifth
They
paladin.
find a man named Sven.
That would actually, they might. They could.
Oh,
they could
God,
very
no.
easily just find a fifth person. Well as they've done everything else, that they would do it well.
Yeah. I mean, they clearly have a game plan at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I trust that they've already made decisions that are going to be good, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Like looking forward, they're going to have to find a new protagonist, right? I mean, they killed off the Zarkon.
Well, no,
No,
he's not dead,
not-
but he's
no.
like looks like he's in a coma.
Incapacitated, more
And
or
so
less.
now they're gonna. That's why the last words of the show in the season finale were Hagar saying, "Contact Prince Lotor, who is Zarkon's son." Who, if you remember from the original '80s series, didn't he have like long
white hair.
Long white hair.
Yeah.
He's a Targaryen. They're bringing in a Targaryen with 3 dragon eggs.
Crossing genres here.
Yeah, but Lotor
Game
was
of Voltron.
Yeah, Lotor was the main antagonist for a lot of the episodes, and even had kind of a little bit of a rivalry with his dad. He wanted to take over, but that's cool that they're going to bring him into this as well.
It'd be interesting to see who some of the other Paladins were.
Yeah.
Some of the other, the
Maybe
previous,
they could explore some of that.
yeah. They even hinted at that, didn't he? Say, why do you think the previous paladins all escaped or left or ran away or something too?
Well, I thought he kind of hinted at it that he murdered some of them.
That could be. I mean, seeing that little quick flashback, I almost wonder how much of this they're actually going to go into, or if that's all we get. That they showed Allura's dad and Zarkon before he was all evil, and that the lines were actually forged from a mystical asteroid that hit, and then they built the technology around it. I love that because they added the mystical nature, which I think is important to Voltron, and the technological. They're not just advanced lions. Like, well, how do they feel and sense their presence? There's a mystical aspect. Well, that doesn't make sense. They're robots and stuff. Do you remember Transformers? Do you remember the Matrix of Leadership? Okay? It's mystical. Accept it. Shut the fuck up. Because it was awesome. So stop thinking too hard. It was cool. Yeah, that's cool. Anything else you got, Matt?
That's about it.
Cool. I'm
I'm
pumped
upset, actually. By binging it, I've kind of freed my time up. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Game
I wish there were more episodes.
of Thrones.
Well, yes, obviously.
Trust me, we will find many things to fill that void. No, that was too easy.
Sounds awful.
That was too easy for a setup. No, if you're jumping into that, you're whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you know? What did you think about Voltron Season 2? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Cool. I'm pumped for Season 3, and I'm assuming as quick as Season 2 came out, they have already got it pretty far along the pipeline. Like, again, it seems like in the opening credits, they already had the last episode of Season 2, at least partially animated. And they said, you haven't seen nothing yet. I mean, this company is just hot to trot. That's out of South Korea. I apologize. I don't remember the name of the company that's doing it, but they're fantastic. Cool.